Hey, you remember I said I wasn't going to pull the windscreen out? I pulled the windscreen out. Now, I know I owe yous an update. It's been, I think, a little over a month since the last video was uploaded on YouTube. And in that video, you saw this thing running. Spicy. Unfortunately, the turbo shit the bed before it even left the shed. So, yeah, the little CT20 was making all sorts of weird noises and then suddenly just stopped creating boost. So I ordered a Chinese turbo.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer every night.
While I was waiting for the turbo to show up, I thought I might as well work on other things, you know.
You're a fucking idiot.
So the front end is actually mostly done in the way of the headlights. So they're all wired up and they work nicely. So I've got LEDs on the outer ones. The Parkers are in the outer headlights as well. I don't think yous have seen the loom is pretty much done. And when I say pretty much done, it actually is this time. Like it's all taped up and it's in sheathing. It's done. You know. Oh, the rad support. I don't know if that was something that we included in the last video or not, but that's all welded on. So what it is it's Series A rad supports. I don't know what panel you would call that. Outers, I guess.
Okay.
So the outer rad supports are welded onto the Series B chassis here. And then this support is a Series B support, which means I can run Series B guards and bonnet and the latch will be in the factory spot, but I can run the Series A headlights and grille. Yeah, hopefully that works out well and ends up looking good because I put in a lot of bloody effort, and if it looks like shit, I'm going to have to cut it all off and start again. So, you know, which hey, I'm not shy of cutting up the car, I guess. As for the windscreen, this rust has been here since I bought the car back in 2012. And it's actually, this is the panel out of it. It's just been getting progressively worse. When I bought the car, it was about this bad on top. But it's slowly been spreading along there. And because I'm swapping to black interior, I got a mate of mine, Rufus, to powder coat a spare one of these I've got. He did it black. It looks freaking mint. So I'm very grateful for that. But if I'm swapping a black interior, I didn't want to go putting the new piece over the top of this rust, naturally, you know. So my two options were either leave that rusty thing in there and just worry about swapping it later when I get a new windscreen, or stop being a lazy prick, pull the windscreen out and clean this shit up because it needs attention. So even though it's delaying driving this longer with the turbo shit in the bed and then this, you know, at least it's going to be done properly. But the plan was to clean this up so that way I could fit that panel that Rufus powder coated for me straight in, be nice and mint, and then I can just glue the windscreen in myself. That's not going to be hard. I don't know if you can see that big split in the windscreen. I actually split it because I'm a dumbass.
Correct.
But anyway, of course, of all the windscreens I pull out of RA40s, the one out of NooB is the one I fucking split. At least I have spares. The only thing I'm sad about is I can't have that sticker on there anymore. So that's a bummer. That was from Toyota Nationals. But anyway, so I'll be tackling this and waiting for that turbo to rock up, essentially. Well, it's bloody raining. And today I'm tackling this this rust a bit more. I've already cut quite a lot of it out. It was pretty bad along here. But yeah, I've got 2 pieces here that I've cut out, drilled out the spot welds from another RA40 I have in the yard here. So the idea is I need to do a little bit more trimming on this just to get it to sit nice, but pretty much that's going to fit in there like that to fill that in. And then this section here is what this piece is, and that'll go in like that. I don't know, I'll see if this works. Worst case, it can't be any worse than the friggin' the rust that was there. At least there's actual structure here. This is the first real rust repair I've ever done. This is pretty complicated for me anyway. I've not done anything like this. I mean, welding the front end on was fairly complicated, but it was basically just 2 sheets that I was welding together. This is layered, so it's layered and it's a lot more complicated to keep track of everything, but I'm gonna do my best anyway. I don't know if you can see very well, because the GoPro doesn't like to really zoom in on things, which is kind of annoying. It's all welded up. It's not the neatest job in the world. I mean, I'm not a friggin' pro panel beater / welder or whatever, but it's better than rust, that's for sure. And then I can weld in that last bit here. Not perfect, but it'll do. Now I'm going to start priming it, rust converting some of the other spots there, seam sealant and cavity wax. Yeah, looks like bloody chocolate milkshake. Weird. Oh, it doesn't smell like chocolate milkshake. My lungs. So that shit burns, don't breathe it in. Now the instructions on this were very vague. Very vague indeed. But let's just go with this. Just paint it on wherever there's rust, hey? Probably not meant to be using my hands for this shit at all. I'll edit this out. So, rust converter on all the rusted spots. Then this stuff takes 3 hours to dry enough for you to put primer on. There is rust elsewhere on this car that I'm just gonna dab some of this stuff onto. I know it's not really gonna help the situation, but at least it'll probably seal some of the shit, maybe. I don't know, the door I wasn't too worried about. I have heaps of doors. So when this thing gets painted in the future, a couple of years, that's when I'll worry about it. But for now, I'm just gonna do the best I can to stop this thing rusting further, So, let's get all this in all these rusty seams. Hopefully I can get this done today because my brother's coming around tomorrow to help me fit the windscreen. Alright, so it's all rust treated. The seam sealant's been put on. I didn't do it very neat. I sort of just brushed it on all over the gaps there to try fill in the gaps. So it looks a bit average with the paint over it now, but I'm not fussed. You don't see any of this. Should be pretty rust resistant. So I'll wait for this coat to dry, and then I can put the cavity wax in all these little holes, nooks and crannies here, and just soak everything in cavity wax. And then once my brother gets here later today, we'll put the windscreen in.
Facing first.
Rest it on those little feet.
If it hits anywhere? Yep. Go down.
Yeah, mine's pretty well.
Alright, that's it.
Nice. Dude, I think this needs to sit higher. Look. This needs to be up here. Like that. Have we got the feet the wrong way? I think we do. Just go, dude. You're happy when you're impeding work, aren't you? So I will destroy you. Take two. Rest the bottom.
Yep.
And how's it looking for you? It looks like it needs to sit up higher the way like that. You just
Yeah. I will put this back out.
doesn't worry about fingerprints now. We'll just wipe it before we go do the proper install.
Yeah.
So you're a fucking. While you're doing that, do you want me to put the silicone down?
Yeah, man.
That's a big fucking. That's gonna be a big bead.
It's a fat roll.
That's a fucking. Holy shit.
Yeah, see that you shouldn't have to dull up at all. That's me. Go.
It's in. Thank you.
It's alright.
Thank you for your assistance. I appreciate it. Cool. All right, with the windscreen in, the top trim on, I need to tackle the bottom trim and the A-pillars. Now, the issue is with these trims, they have these little mounting points here on them, which are spot welded on. Problem is, they break off all the time. And that's not a very nice looking piece of trim. I've got really nice ones here, where this isn't sun damaged and flaking off. It's actually still a solid piece of rubber. The problem is, both pieces, these little clips have snapped off. So I talked to a mate, Shay, to see if he could possibly weld these back on, but he said it'll discolor the trim. So I'm probably just going to try a really high strength epoxy to glue those in. Worst case, they just snap off again. It's not a big deal. The trim doesn't fly off if these aren't screwed on. So I mean, if it snaps off, it's not a problem. So yeah, I'll do that now. I'll glue these on, and I also have to do it to the B pillars. B pillars have a very similar issue, which is these little clips here are held in by only a very thin piece of plastic, and they always break off. So I'm gonna go through my trims back there, See if I can find another one on this side that has both tabs intact. And I'm going to epoxy the fuck out of these so they stay put and they don't freaking break. Back here's still a bit of a mess. I've not had a chance to clean up properly with all the crap going on lately. See, this one's got two. That's very rusty looking clip. But if I can get a cleaner clip and get it in there without breaking the bloody thing, that would be good. A lot of people end up just using silicone to glue these back on, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just do this a bit better properly, you know, because as long as you glue the clips in, you're able to remove these trims with no problems. As soon as you glue them, they're a freaking nightmare to remove. Okay, so this is the only one that has two. So I might clean this up. I'll pull that clip out and I'll sandblast it. Unless, did one of these have that clip in good condition? Here we go, this one does. Alright, I might take that clip out, clean that up, glass blast that, and then I'll glue these in. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll make a good pair out of what I can here. Getting these clips out without breaking them is it's a challenge. You won't break the clip itself, but you'll break this plastic tab. I've done it many times before and broken many of them. It's pretty common, and I won't be surprised if I break this one, which is highly plausible right now.
Nice.
That isn't the one I need to worry about though. I just need this. This is the one that I don't want to break, because that clip there looks good. This one's rusty as hell. Fuck, that is just solid. Give it a wiggle. That is so rusty. Yeah, what a pain in the ass. Let me get some pliers. Might be able to get better grip and a better angle with pliers. That felt like it went. Come on. Yes, look at that. So I'll be cleaning that out, and I'll use this clip in there. I'll probably just give this a quick glass blast to clean it up. I'll pull the clips out of the other side and start this tedious process. Alright, I've just epoxied these in. I glass blasted them first just to clean off some bits of corrosion and all that. So they're all in ready to go. So I'll just leave these to cure. I wasn't too fussed about being neat. You don't really see this. I just want them to be strong. I don't want them to snap off like they always do. And this should be plenty strong now. Then what I'll do to stop these corroding is coat them in cavity wax before putting them in. Alright, with those set aside curing, now we've got to work on these trims. These are very nice trims. Like these are still rubbery here, which is just... I never see trims like that. So I'm going to have to look after these. But yeah, it's still soft rubber. It's not flaky, crappy stuff like that one. The only bad thing and the only downside about these really awesome condition trims is that these have broken off, which is pretty common. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some JB Weld instead of the other epoxy I used. I was cleaning these up with acetone, but I decided against that, and I just chucked them in the glass blaster because they're a stainless trim. They did look polished like this, but a slightly rough surface from glass blasting will probably help it stick better to the trim. You don't see them unless you open the door, and even then they're painted black from factory, so glass blasting it hasn't really changed a thing. I'm still going to go about the same way. So now I have to tediously work out how I'm going to glue these on here with this JB Weld and hold them in place for 6 minutes. It's going to be a bit tedious, but I'll give it a crack. To hold these clips in place, I've just used a little bit of super glue, just a little dab of super glue. to hold it where it is. Now I can mix up some of this JB weld and just start spreading it on where it needs to be. Fill all these little gaps. Just make it as strong as I can make it. This JB weld stuff's pretty good. I have used it to repair a distributor housing that had cracked before, and that crack never opened up anymore. It never caused any issues, so it must be alright stuff. Alright, I'll leave that like that for the minute. I'll do the other side, and then I'm going to have to try wipe some of this off. Bit of a race against the clock. Bit of stress. It's good for the heart and soul. I'll do my best to do a little bit of cleanup while it's still wet, but I don't really want to press too hard against the clip, because it's only held in with super glue. It could pop off without this stuff being set, so I've got to be careful. I don't think that's going to look too out of place, really. That's pretty neat. At least these trims should stay on here now. Pretty sturdy. I'll have to wait for this to cure. This stuff takes 6 hours to cure, so these won't be able to go on today. Alright, I'll let those trims cure. I'm just going through all my friggin' wiper blades here, and I've found these. These look pretty nice. Because the ones on NooB are a bit average, and I didn't want to just paint them. I wanted something a bit more flashy. I do believe that these are MS65 crown. I could be wrong. I believe these are K30. So I was looking at those, but they're a little bit short. I think these will look nice. Just clean them up, give them a little bit of a polish. They are slightly different angles, but I don't think that'll cause a big issue. One of the reasons I want to go with these is because the plastic covers on these always friggin' break, and these are metal, and they look really nice. The only bad thing, I guess, is that I won't be able to run the RA40 windscreen squirter washer thing, but that doesn't bother me because they never friggin' work anyway. If I really hate not having squirters, I could just use something like this, which is these go through the vents in the cowl panel and they point up at the windshield. These would be easy as to mount in anyway, so I might just mount these if I end up not liking no squirters. But yeah, I reckon they're a really nice looking wiper blade. They look better than the ones that are on NooB. I can't be bothered painting. I reckon those will look a bit flashier. Alright folks, I think that'll do for this episode. Next time you'll probably see me cutting up one of these and modifying it. That should be fun. Alright, catch us later.